I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
That's Lavi.
Salty and Chip.
Black Sabbath. We haven't done Black Sabbath in quite some time.
Don't forget, in about 2 weeks, we have a channel announcement. So we're going to keep reminding you guys so nobody missed it. It's going to be one of the live streams.
Oh, did we decide that?
Oh. Yeah,
Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Live stream. Yeah. Okay. Changes.
Yep.
Black Sabbath. Let's do it.
Go.
I feel unhappy. I feel so sad. I've lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman. I love her so. But it's too late now. I've let her go. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes.
I like that one. It's a very relaxing song. At the beginning, it sounded happy, like we were going into Mr. Rogers' world. And then
Not a happy song.
the lyrics started, and I was like, yo, this is like the song like that I would picture, like, I've never been to a bar, but like what I would picture, like, you know, like how they'll have those scenes where like you're like, there's only like two people in this lonely looking bar, and the guy's got his, you know, and the song is playing. Like, this would be like one of those songs. Mm-hmm. Doesn't it seem like the perfect, like, I don't know, but beautifully done, especially the I'm going through changes part.
Yeah, this is the first Sabbath song where I really felt like Ozzy was singing. Like,
Beautiful. I
because
loved it.
they replaced him with Dio, I guess, but he was doing really, really good here as far as like vocally speaking.
Yeah.
This was really, really good.
I could listen to more of his songs for sure. Are you sure it's Ozzy? That's not what I picture him to sound like.
Yeah, that's Ozzy.
That's wild. Well, that's sad.
What?
It's just a song. It was sad.
Yeah.
But you know what I liked about it? It was sad, but it didn't have like this I'm gonna go kill myself sound to it. It sounded like I'm going through changes. Like, you know, it's hard, it's sad, but like the world doesn't end here. It doesn't, you know?
It's a very healthy song. Mm-hmm. Very emotionally healthy. Like, understanding that, you know, the relationship's over.
Yep.
You know, he lost a friend, but some of that has to do with the evil of the world. Some of it has to do with people change, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's a major thing.
Yeah.
Is like how to find the sort of, you know, logos in your relationship that keeps it while you're changing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like Philo was trying to figure out like the world and like how everything kept changing, but everything kept remaining constant and what, you know, and for him that was the logos, but like for, you know, relationships operate that way too, because people change so much. You know, like you've changed a lot in 2-3 years.
Oh my word.
I've
Yeah.
pretty much stayed the same, I think.
Yeah. I've changed a lot. It's weird because you're more comfortable with my change than I am.
Well, I've grown up around people changing all over the place, you know. So
I'm unrecognizable to my old self.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably.
I would be like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
You said fuck. You just kissed a black man.
You racist bastard. But yeah, I a lot of relationships don't really survive. I mean, actually, that was one of the things that ended my previous relationship, was that I changed very drastically, very quickly.
For a good reason. Yeah, you had kids on the way.
Yeah, whatever the reason, I changed very drastically and very quickly, and the other person was just like, that was pretty much the end of it. Because, you know, and you hear that all the time in relationships. People go, this is not the person that I married. Or, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. All this dramatic shit. It's like, come on. Like, did you expect a person from year 1 to year 5 to be the exact same person?
Yeah, I thought people basically stayed the same. I didn't realize that people make so many changes.
Well, at the core of yourself, you're still the same person that I know. Like, you're still the same person at the core. It's just, the thing is, human beings are so complex that there's like 58 versions of them.
Yeah.
Like, we had this conversation about like your real self and all that.
Yeah.
Like, people have different versions of themselves that you know, as you go on through life, you embody certain versions depending on what the circumstances. It doesn't mean you're not being genuine.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times, like, you have that person inside of you, but it takes external situations to draw that out.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the other person, like, I want version X. Well, version Y is still me. It's just me reacting to a certain circumstance, but they don't want that. They want one specific version of a person. You know, and that's, you know...
Like you when you have Bacardi?
Me and the other right. You like Bacardi Vin yeah, you love Bacardi Vin. But I was talking to the other you know, it's kind of funny. Like we did a post-mortem on our relationship like a year or two ago. And long story short, it just came down to once I found out we were pregnant.
He's talking about him and his ex.
You know,
you said we, so it sounded like
once I found out, this is, you know, over a decade ago, because Dorian's, you know, 13 now, 12 now. Once we found out we were pregnant, I went from this, you know, crazy, no guidance type of whatever to like extremely. I became an adult overnight. I became a man overnight, like literally overnight. Like I woke up the next day once I found out that we were pregnant. I woke up the next day and started getting my license and got a job. Well, I already had a job, but like started taking the job very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And like that was and you know, a month later it was all this I don't know who you are anymore, blah 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 discussion, and I was like, I'm still the same person, but I'm a father now.
You're so extreme. Like,
what do you mean?
You do anything, you do it on 10. So
it's true. It's true.
You know, like if I don't feel good and you're taking care of me, it's on 10. Like,
but that's the thing. It's like that's me. So it's like Vin is extreme. It's just that you're gonna get extreme. You know.
Yeah. Well,
Vin
sometimes it works good, and sometimes it's like, well.
Yeah, but you know,
babe, it's 2:30 in the morning. You're still working. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's extreme Vin. Like. You've got 2 jobs and you've got, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really look at that as extreme, but yeah, I mean, I think most
the rest of the world will understand. He goes to bed at like 7 a.m. sometimes and wakes up at 11 a.m.
I think that you know, I mean, you were asleep, so I'm still trying to figure out why you care what I'm doing when you're asleep.
I sense your absence even when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, it's like literally.
No,
like 4
I know.
feet away.
But like when your body is in the bed and I snuggle up against your body, it's like it's perfect. It's like a sedative. It's all comfy.
Well, yeah, and you're sedate, and then I go, shit. There's that report, or there's that this, or there's that. So I go and
sleeping.
Yeah,
the bed moves on.
It doesn't.
You're leaving.
And then, no, it's as soon as you hear the typing on the keyboard, you're like, man, why are you doing?
It really is it that?
Yeah, as soon as you hear the typing, that's it.
Couldn't be you last night or this morning, whatever it was. All of a sudden, I was like asleep, and then all of a sudden, you put this big, loud,
one long
metal thing on. I'm like, the fuck! I'm like, I woke up. I'm like, what?
That's not true. It wasn't some metal. What are you talking about? Metal?
What was it? I don't know. It was like some, like all of a sudden, I asked you. I was like, can you please turn that down? Like I was so like feeling so sick, and you're like,
it wasn't a metal thing.
What was it?
It was.
It wasn't this.
An explication of the Hebrew word nakash in.
No, it was like loud sound music stuff.
Yeah, there was a soundtrack on the back, but that's what it was. It was.
Well, anyway,
looking at nakash. It was a really cool story. You know, with the winged serpents and stuff like that in Egypt, and Isaiah's friend and. You know, whatever, and there was like an Egyptian trade during Isaiah's time, so the seraphim that he saw in Isaiah 6 were basically winged snakes, basically, cobras, which you would see guarding Pharaoh's, throne, and then, you know, there's a little coin of two snakes guarding Yahweh's throne, and all this, whatever.
Do you think there's any correlation between that and the snake that was on the thing that they had to look at?
Yeah, it was called, it's the same word. It's the same Hebrew word for the snake that was on the thingy and the snake said.
I never understood that story. It's always very weird to me.
Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. Those serpents were originally good, and then there was one that like just went off the thingy. So anyway, interesting story. But yeah, like people. That's the thing is like when in relationships when people change, like people feel like there's some sort of violation of contract or something. Like I don't expect you to be the exact same way you are now 2 years from now.
Right.
I expect a different version of you to come out. Like the core of you is still the same, but there's going to be a different version of you that's reacting to different circumstances. You know, like if
that's
you.
Very true.
You know, and so it's like, but a lot of relationships die for that reason. Like people just can't pivot, or if you don't change if you don't change simultaneously, it's hard. People can't make it through.
I think you're basically the same, like the whole time that I've known you.
Yeah, well, a lot of the major changes that I've made happened before we got together. You know what I mean? Like going from a person like who loved and indulged in violence and put myself in situations where there'd always be violence. And saying, okay, that's out of my system. You know, there were certain things that I wanted to do in life that if I didn't do them, I would like hate myself for the rest of my life. So like I got all that stuff out of my system. And then, you know, maturing and being like, okay, I gotta take care of family and all this. Like, you know, I got that figured out. So there's a lot of things that I've, you know, the stuff that we were doing downtown, like I had to get that out of my system. So, you know, like...
Did you ever want to do a YouTube channel?
No. I never wanted to do a YouTube channel. No.
Me neither. That was never on my list.
It's a very interesting experience. So, like...
So thank you for this experience.
Yeah. So, like, you know, it's... Yeah, so the way that I am now is...
Yeah.
Is, you've gotten... I don't know. Who knows?
Retired, Vin?
Well, you know, maybe you'd have been more excited, you know, 5 years ago if I said, hey, da-da-da-da-da, I'm doing this, and that. You might have been excited, or you might have said, well, we're not going to work.
Yeah.
You spend too much time away from home, and I don't know if you're going to come back. So
Yeah. I'm not really good with stuff like that.
Yeah, you're not really good with stuff like that.
No, I'm not at all.
Not at all.
At all.
I can still hear her last goodbyes.
Yeah, that part I was a little bit confused. It said it took so long to realize. I can still hear her last goodbyes. I don't...
A lot of those relationships are over before they what?
I'm confused. I'm just waiting for your
Well,
answer.
I just think a lot of those relationships are over before they're actually over. And people are just trying to, like, basically, like, you know, keep the thing on life support.
And I can still see... Oh, I thought there was a correlation between the two. He's just saying it took a really long time to realize the relationship was over. And also, I mean, I can still, to this moment, hear her last goodbyes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough moment, man. It's a very, very difficult moment, you know, so... I think, you know, I've been pretty, you know... Because I've never hidden from you, like, it was a sad situation, that, you know, the previous relationship, and you know, it sucks. You know, it sucks when something that you've invested a lot of yourself into is actually like, oh, okay, this is over, that's it. You know? But I think it's healthy to say, I love the person, I'm always gonna love the person. I like what he did here. I like that he didn't demonize the other person. I like that he didn't say, you're, you know, blah. I hate when that happens. It's like, okay, so you love the person for X amount of years. Now the thing is over. They were just a fucking terrible, you never had, you know, it's like, come on. Like, you were with the person because you loved the person. The thing is over. Don't flip and act like you never loved the person, that you hated the person, and that, you know, the flaws that they had. Like, people like to focus on the flaws about the other person, so because they think that that's going to make them move on from the relationship better, and I don't believe that. It's like, just recognize that the time that you had with that person was special, and that you'll always love. There's some people you're always going to love, period. You know, and I think it's like, it would be... You know, I've talked, you know, we've had those conversations where I'd be like, I would be worried about you if you didn't love the other person still. Like, how can you spend all that time and have all those memories and then immediately, like, not love a person? Like, that's crazy to me. Because then how can you be sure they're going to love you? You know what I mean? Like, they could just get rid of somebody that's been a major part of their life and no longer love them, then, you know, how are they going to love you? So I think he did a really, really good job of being honest with where he was at, while at the same time recognizing that it was over. And I think this is probably one of the more healthy ways of handling a breakup, I think.
What do you think he meant when he said he'd change the years?
All the things that went bad that ended their relationship, I'm assuming.
So he would want the relationship still be going on, but at the same time,
I'm not sure. I just think that, you know, if there's something that you did to hurt a person that was avoidable, whether, because, you know, I mean, you know, my Calvinist leanings make it so that they would have, you know, it was like we were watching Orange yesterday, and it was like, oh, I would have done blah 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 and she's differently, so we wouldn't end up in jail. And she's like, it doesn't matter what we did, you'd still be sitting here and I would still be sitting here. And of course the irony of the whole thing is that she's right, because the author decided that they were going to make a show about prison.
Yep.
So it didn't matter what the situation
Yeah.
was, they were going to end up there. The
Right.
author was going to put them there. So, but I think like, but I think, you know, like there's always that piece of you that's like, if I could go back and take away something I said or did that hurt another person, I would.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as it's going to change the result, because I don't think I think those things are fixed. But I do think like the regret of, I wish I would have said this, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done more of this, I wish I would have done less of that. You know, if I had to do it over again, I absolutely would. You know, but see, I don't say wish because like it went down the way it went down. I always say like, if I could go back, I would have done this. But I don't spend a lot of time wishing for something that's impossible. Like it's impossible. You can't go back and change it. You know, so I just love this song because it's not, nobody's like the bad guy. And I think people are so simplistic. I think it's a sign of, like, there are some bad guys in relationships. Like, if somebody's, like, terrible and abusive and evil, then they're the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, in most
Or bad woman.
Yeah, most situations in a relationship, it's you know, mutual unraveling and incompatibility and, like, the blame game and the demonization of the other person, I think, is bullshit. Especially when there's kids involved. So yeah, I mean, real good stuff. Good life lessons. If people can draw the lessons that they're supposed to out of the out of the song, it's pretty simple. But I feel like I heard somebody cover this song. I want to Jay-Z. It's funny. It could either be Jay-Z or there's this local guy who's a rapper. And, you know. I'm pretty sure it was him or Jay-Z, I'm not sure. Kind of a little bit, it's interesting, there was no like solo.
Nope.
There's no like, I was expecting Iommi to just go, you know.
I liked it.
Very sad, bluesy, minor key stuff,
Yeah.
but he didn't. He just, you know, they just went with the piano or whatever it was, so. I thought that was interesting. It always fascinates me when somebody who's like supremely talented chooses not to
display it
not
all.
to do it because they don't think it fits into the song. I think that's so I would have liked to have heard a solo, but I at the same time I'm like, I don't know if that was the right call.
Because honestly, the song wasn't that long. I mean, how long was it?
It's like 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, but it felt like long, not as like miserable long, but it just felt long because it was very slow moving and stuff like that. So I think a solo would have dragged it out too much. My opinion, but
well, I don't know if a solo would have dragged it out too much because you can still play a solo over the whatever. But yeah, interesting song. What do you give it?
probably a 9.
Yeah, I felt like it got bogged down a little bit, but because of the content of the song, and I'm pretty sure that chorus is a classic chorus. Gets a 9.3 from me. 9.3. Good song.
I'll go with you on it. 9.3.
Solid 9.3.
Yep. Solid.
Learn the lesson of the song. Been out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.
Oh, I was gonna do this, but I don't know why. They do that thing we do.
Okay.
Goodbye.
I feel so sad. I've lost the best friend that I ever had.